Hello my friends, this is Ed Phillips. Welcome to another episode of the story behind one of my paintings. If you like sunsets, if you like sailboats, if you like the ocean, then you'll like the story behind Sails at Sunset. Stay tuned. Back in the late 90s, with a big family to feed and a demanding job that took me to many parts of Europe and all over the United States. In fact, I probably flew around 120 to 150,000 miles a year, which was pretty stressful and a very demanding job. So anyway, I was pretty keyed up and was finding it difficult to find a getaway that really allowed me to relax. Got to the point where it would take me 3 or 4 days to unwind, and then I would start winding back up by the end of a week. So we'd been looking for some way just to get away and really truly relax. So a friend of ours and her husband invited us, my wife and me, to go on a trip with them. And the trip was to start in Florida, where her father had a sailboat, a catamaran that was a 45, 50-foot catamaran that he had docked in Fort Lauderdale. And so we flew down there and then sailed across the Gulf Stream, which I don't know if you know anything about the Gulf Stream, but it's really interesting. It's amazing, a huge cavern that, and goes steeply down and then steeply back up. And as you go up, you eventually get to the point where you hit the Grand Bahama Banks, which is hundreds of miles long and I don't know, maybe 100 miles wide. And it averages about 25-foot depth over the banks. And there are over 700 islands and keys along these banks. And I believe only around 30 or 35 of those islands are actually inhabited. So it's a really amazing chain of islands. And we sailed to the northernmost part of the island chains. It's called the Abacos. And as we were sailing along and got across the Gulf Stream and hit the banks, you suddenly go on this flat, pretty much level bank, and you can see through the very clear water down into the ocean floor, and you see beautiful shells and shellfish and coral and starfish and all kinds of oceanic life down there, and it's just beautiful, spectacular. So the first day or so we were busy sailing, so it wasn't really relaxing. It was enjoyable. I had a great time, and our friend's dad was a great captain, so he really teaching us a lot about sailing, and it was fun. Enjoyed that. I'd never been on a sailboat for an extended period of time like that, but I wasn't relaxed. And as we got on the banks and were sailing along and we had good wind behind us, I took a moment and I went out, and on a catamaran there's what they call the trampoline, which is basically a big huge tarp that's tied between the two hulls in the front. And I went out there and I sat down on that, and then I laid down on it, and I was looking over the edge down at all the ocean life passing by, and I started to relax. Oh my, the wind in the sails, hearing the water lapping against the hull gently, or the hulls. And that really set the stage then for what became a most memorable trip. And we were there a total of about 8 days and went from island to island. Most of those islands, of course, uninhabited. We went swimming, had some great meals and great company, and just a tremendous experience. Had a few adventures along the way too. One island we anchored off of, and then 4 of us swam out to this little island, a little key, and enjoyed exploring on it, uninhabited. And then as we were getting ready to go back, swim back to the boat, we got out there and were swimming along just just offshore, and I looked off with my goggles on. I looked off, and there was a huge shark. Huge, I say, probably 7 or 8 feet. Big shark. So I immediately turned back, and I got the attention of everyone else, and we went back, and sure enough, that shark just started swimming right in front of us, just as shallow as it could get in the water, swimming in front of us back and forth. So we had to yell and get the attention of the people who were on the boat, and eventually we got their attention, and they took the little dinghy and came and got us. But that was a little bit too adventurous, but very interesting nonetheless. And then one night we were anchored off of an island, and big wind came up, and woke up in the middle of the night to discover that the boat was dragging the anchor. The wind was so strong. So we had to all get up together and re-secure and make sure the anchor was holding through the night, which was another adventure, but danger but fun. Honestly, it was a great adventure. So back to what was really the inspiration for my painting. Well, one thing that stands out about that trip were the beautiful sunsets. I remember seeing sailboats going by, and the islands off in the distance, these beautiful sunsets almost every night. And it was always a peaceful time of day, and just a moment to sit and relax and reflect, and the sunlight reflecting across the water, different scenes. And that wasn't actually from a photo. My painting isn't from a photo, just a collection of memories that came from that trip, that even today, as I was creating that painting, I was just struck by how seeing a scene like that just helps me to relax and to let go. And I just feel a moment of being peaceful and reflective, and that's really what I wanted to capture in this painting. So that's the story behind Sails at Sunset. I hope you enjoyed it. If you ever get a chance to go to the Bahamas, I strongly encourage you to do so. It's such a beautiful place and relaxing. I hope some of that came through in the painting. I thank you so much for watching. I'd love to keep in touch with you. There's a link to Facebook or Instagram below. And please hit the subscribe button and the like button. And if you're interested in some of my paintings, maybe buying a print, you can go to my website, which there's a link below as well. Again, thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you again soon.